Typhoon Neoguri now pulling away from the southern Japanese islands. This blew by Miyako-Jima, Kumijima, and the main island of Okinawa here on Tuesday, July the 8th, 2014. And it caused 10 injuries, 2 deaths inadvertently farther off towards the north. Over 100,000 people without power and over 500,000 people were advised to evacuate out here across the southern Japanese islands. 55,000 of those people were on Miyako-Jima, where this footage is coming out of. Videographer James Reynolds and Josh Morgan put themselves in the left front quadrant of this storm system as it did whiz by the island there, seeing some large and wicked waves coming on shore. Good news, very little damage being reported there. Where we had seen some extensive damage in a few areas was on the main island of Okinawa, where winds upwards about 180 km per hour was reported at the Kadena Air Base there, where a lot of people were sharing information from 87 knots or about 150 km per hour winds, well over typhoon strength were reported there as well. So we did see those numerous power outages out here. Also, one building was significantly damaged in Naha. This was a cafe made out of wood. This is one reason why most buildings across the southern Japanese islands are made out of solid concrete, and reinforced and made to withstand this type of damage. Also, numerous reports of light debris flying around today. Many people did not take those proper precautions out ahead of the storm system. This was a water container on a roof, and I'm going flying down onto the ground level. One reason why we advise people stay indoors during the storm system. So it wasn't just light debris, even cars rolling around on some of the bases out there, the military bases. This is one video of a car being overturned and rolling down there, really shadows of Typhoon Jelawat just 2 years ago that caused extensive damage, and a lot of reports of cars being rolled around in that storm system. So now we are looking ahead, though, at this typhoon. It is now pulling away from the southern Japanese islands. This is a morphed microwave imagery, but the current satellite imagery does show our storm system starting to pull off there towards the north, really becoming wind sheared along its northern periphery, and we have seen a slight decrease in the overall intensity, now down to 85 knots, gusting up to 120 knots, pressure at 945 HPA. Vice this morning when it was at 930, but make no mistakes, this is still a strong storm system, the equivalent of a strong category 1 to weak category 2 on the Saffir-Simpson scale, and it is going to still bring some rough weather out here for western portions of Japan, and that's not including those rain bands that are still going to be filing in across the southern Japanese islands as we look ahead over the next 24 hours. So let's take a look at the forecast, and really this storm system still is going to be bringing some gusty winds throughout the day here on Wednesday and the Thursday. As I mentioned before, over 100,000 people were without power. That means down power lines in some areas out here. So even though I did notice the military T-Core 1 recovery is in place, it means you can travel around. I still would advise against it throughout the day on Wednesday because there is still going to be some down power lines. I know that a lot of things are still delayed. Monorail still likely going to be down, and a few roads very well could be closed due to downed trees. So travel is still going to be a little bit rough, but the good news, conditions will improve. Wave height still upwards about 11 to 12 meters though across the Amami Islands, but I think the biggest impact from this storm system is going to be in Kyushu, and that's more so than what we've seen in Okinawa, because as this comes on shore, it is going to be packing some winds into an area that is not built like a bomb shelter when it comes to typhoons. Kyushu over towards Shikoku, also very easy to have some severe flooding here. I mean, we actually take a look at this model outlook. This was made by Jonathan Ola and our own model platform here at westernpacificweather.com. Those areas in the red indicating 1 to 200 millimeters of total rainfall. Much of Japan is going to be impacted by this, but I think southern and the Pacific coast of Kyushu, Shikoku, over towards the Kii Peninsula, these are the areas that are going to be highest at risk for severe flooding. You're going to have that moisture inflow wrapping around this storm system. It will come on shore and it will hit these mountains. It will squeeze it out like a sponge, and then we're going to be seeing that severe threat of flooding across much of this area. And even throughout the day on Thursday, going into Friday, still showers out there towards Tokyo, and even some gusty winds coming on shore. Tropical storm strength winds are even possible for our friends into the Yokosuka area. We have a lot of people watching out there across Yokosuka, Kanagawa, Chiba Prefecture, and of course here in Tokyo as well. It's going to be breezy, but I think the bigger impact for the Tokyo metropolitan area on Thursday night into Friday will be the rainfall, low-lying river flooding. Shouldn't do too much to slow down the city though, but do have your rain boots on and in your umbrella in hand because it is going to be a wet one out there. Possibility of some delays at the airports Narita and Haneda, but I would definitely check ahead with your airlines if you do plan on flying in and out of here. So yeah, that is all in this storm system though. The rest of the week, most of Japan is going to be impacted by it. As far as the extended outlook, I don't see anything in the near future developing up out here. We do have one tropical wave way out there. At least at this time, nothing really in the forecast coming from that area. So really, let's continue to track this storm system as we look ahead here. Conditions are going to continue to improve for those of you in the southern Japanese islands. But that is some good news out there because we have seen that damage. Like I said, 15 injuries, most of them due to people out and about during this storm system. And it resulted in that, people just getting injured. So it's a very unfortunate situation. Remember, especially in the southern Japanese islands, I know that evacuation advisories were coming across on people's phone, but what they were saying in Japanese, that is that if you were not inside a sturdy building, which most of you were, to evacuate and get out of there. And by not inside a sturdy building, I was meaning one like this. Pure wooden one there in Naha. Anyways, that is all for right now. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please post them out there in the comment box below. And as always, stay safe out there, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye.